Today's lesson is focused on solving inequalities. Really, this part isn't that much different than we've done the rest of this unit. We have already solved equations, we've had function equations that we've solved. It's the same exact process. The hardest part is that graphing, okay? So again, remember we use opposite or inverse operations to get the variable by itself, and we must do the same thing to both sides. So I'm going to draw my line down my equal sign. I'm going to highlight the side that has the variable. On the side with the variable, we have subtraction. The opposite is to add. The number that we are adding is the number that's on the side with the variable. Since we are subtracting 24, we're going to add 24 to both sides. On this side, it's going to cancel out, so you're left with just the variable. I'm going to bring down my inequality sign. And then 36 plus 24 is 60. I'm going to highlight my variable so I can identify if it's on the left side of the inequality. It is, okay? So I'm going to find my point 60. There's no equal to part, so it's an open circle. Since my variable's on the left, my inequality looks like an arrow pointing in the direction I need to shade. I'm shading to the right. Alright, number 2, draw my line down the inequality sign, highlight the side with the variable. Remember that this fraction bar means division. So our variable's being divided by 7, the opposite is to multiply by 7. I'm just going to do it showing parentheses. So you must show the same thing to both sides. It should cancel out on the side with the variable. We're left with just x. 7 times 5 is 35. I'm not putting equals down here. I'm bringing down that inequality sign. Now I'm going to highlight the variable. We have our variable on the right side. We want it on the left, so I'm going to flip things around. I'm going to move the x to the left, 35 to the right. If I flipped these, I need to flip my sign from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. I'm going to find 35 on my number line. There's an equal to part, so I need to shade it in. And then remember, our inequality sign looks like an arrow pointing in the direction we need to shade. In this case, we need to shade to the right. Greater means right. Alright, number 3, drawing my line down the inequality sign, highlighting my side with the variable. When we have a number next to a variable, that means multiplication. The opposite is to divide. We're going to use that fraction bar to show division. The number that's on the side with the variable, x, is being multiplied by 4. That's what we're going to divide by on both sides. It should cancel out on the side with the variable, which leaves just x. On this side, 48 divided by 4 is 12. Bring down my inequality sign. I'm going to highlight my variable. It's on the right side. We want it on the left, so I'm going to move x to the left, 12 to the right. Since I flip-flopped these, I need to flip-flop my sign from greater than to less than. I'm going to find 12 on the graph, so starting at 10, 11, 12. There's no equal to part, so I'm leaving it open. And again, our inequality sign looks like an arrow pointing in the direction we need to shade. It's pointing to the left, so I'm shading to the left. Remember, left means less. Draw my line down my inequality sign here. Highlight my variable. On the side with the variable, we're adding 36, so the opposite is to subtract 36 from both sides. On the side with the variable, it should cancel out. We're left with just y. 47 minus 36 is 11. Bring down my inequality sign. Highlighting my variable because I want it on the left. It is on the left, so we can keep it as is. I'm going to find 11 on my graph. It's right here. There is an equal to part, so I'm going to shade it in. And then our inequality sign looks like an arrow pointing in the direction we need to shade. Pointing to the right. because greater than means right. Two more and then the U try. Highlight our variable. Looking at the side with the variable, when you have a number right next to it, that means multiplication. So the opposite is to divide. M is being multiplied by 19. The opposite is to divide by 19. Bring down our variable. 171 divided by 19 is 9. Bring down our inequality sign. Highlight my variable. My variable's on the right. We want it on the left, so I'm going to flip-flop it. M to the left, 9 to the right. And then I also need to flip-flop my sign from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. I'm going to find 9 on my graph. So if I start at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There is an equal to part, so I need to shade it in. Our inequality sign looks like an arrow pointing in the direction we need to shade. It's pointing to the right because greater than means right. And last one, draw our line down the equal sign, highlight our variable. On the side with the variable, we're subtracting 15. The opposite is to add 15 to both sides. Cancels out on this side. Left with our variable. 12 plus 15 is 27. Bring down our inequality sign. Highlight our variable. Our variable's on the left, which we want. So I'm going to start plotting on my graph. 27, well 25, 26, 27. There is an equal to part, so I'm going to shade it in. And then our inequality sign points in the direction we need to shade. So I'm shading to the right because greater than is right. Go ahead and do the U-tries and get them checked.